engineering identity. But my question to you is, do you feel that identity? Like if you, as an engineer, an engineering graduate, an engineering student, an ally of an engineer, do you see today that that's the identity of an engineer? So maybe like thumbs up, yes, I see an engineer identity today as one that uses their knowledge for well-being of society, or not too sure, or doesn't really resonate with me. What do you think? Everyone gets to vote.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm seeing a fairly optimistic room. I don't think I saw any thumbs down. I saw a few not too sure, and quite a few thumbs up, which is wonderful. Now, I would throw out to the group that we are a very specific group in the room today, and so I would guess if you went and talked to your friends and your coworkers, you might get a bit more of the thumbs down or the middle thumb. And I don't mean to be negative right now. What I mean to illustrate is that I think the identity of an engineer today is not fully realized and understood in society, and the only one that can do it is us, because nobody else, first, has the time where we're thinking about it, right? Everyone's into their own things, but we also know it the best. And so when I have been motivated to volunteer my time in the engineering context, so by running for the Professional Engineers of Ontario Council, of which I'll be the president starting in April this year, and if anyone is in Ottawa, you're more than welcome to come to the annual meeting. It's unfortunately in Ottawa, so it does involve some travel. Every 3 years, that annual meeting of PEO moves outside of Toronto to try to give some access across the province. So this year it is in Ottawa in April, but the next year it'll be back in Toronto. Anyways, everyone is welcome to it, and it's free once you can get yourself there. But by volunteering to be on the PEO Council, a big piece for me is to redefine the identity of an engineer. And it's not changing who we are, but it's doing a better job at sharing to the world what we can do, and then also doing that, so kind of following up. So telling our stories of what we are doing, but telling our stories not so much only about this is the great knowledge and skill I have, these are my competencies, these are my successful projects, these are my inventions, these are my new businesses I've started, but finish the sentence with, and here is how I am enhancing society. Because that, for me, is the real piece that distinguishes an engineer and is an immense value to society as well. So we have, some challenges around engineering in society today, and I'll cite one example. It's American, but I'll still cite it because it's very, very public. So everyone has taken an airplane once in a while, okay? I don't know, have you ever flown on the 737 Boeing airplane? Anyone flown on the MAX? Okay, hopefully not. So again, this is an American example, but we know now, and more information has been coming out, that the software design of a system within the MAX was the reason why those planes crashed. And that was a reason why people died in the world. It's extremely sad and extremely traumatic. And so the question then is, well, if we're a technical learned society, then what is our insights about this scenario that happened? And I believe our insights are that the technology, the kind of technical work that was done to program software for that plane's operation was faulty in terms of ensuring safety, right? So it was faulty in terms of making sure there was a backup system. There's always a way to cancel the system if you need to. There's human intervention if automatic things are not working. There's knowledge, so I educate you and I say, here is the risks, so you know what the risks are. So all of those things are missing. And those are the kinds of things that engineers would naturally think about, because we're thinking about that risk management and we're thinking about the lives of people. So it reflects to me to say, is that work that was done engineering? And I would say that the design of that chip was engineering. Now again, this is American context, the laws are different in the States, but assuming that was done in Canada, that would be engineering work. But we also know in this field of high tech today, in the field of software, computer engineering, and so forth, we also know that engineering doesn't have an identity in that area. So is anyone in software, computer engineering areas? Okay. So what do you think? Do you feel engineering has an identity and a presence in your industries or not?
Oh, of course.
It does?
Yeah, software engineering is very mathematical, right?
Yes.
Engineers are well mathematicians.
Absolutely they are. And do you feel that the people that work with you in your organizations, do they see engineering as having a place within software, as a company and as a business? Do you feel that, or not too sure?
I didn't understand your question.
Oh, no problem. Would the president of your company, which company would it be?
I'm in Persons Incorporation.
Okay. Would the president of that company, or the VP or the senior executive, would they say that engineers are an integral part of the success of the company?
Of course.
Okay, that's great. So this is a wonderful example. So glad to hear that.
I can give an example.
Yes.
I work for TD as a security.
Okay, TD Security,
engineer.
yeah.
When this TD bank talked to the other banks,
Yes.
when TD banks talk to the other banks, they have a treaty in between two banks, or TD banks talk to the third-party financial institute, and we have a link, one link connection. So we need the authentication. So I cannot sign because I don't have PA.
Right, right.
So that's the thing. I do the whole job, but somebody signs on behalf of me.
Right, that's great.
That's the thing.
So these are really good examples of how engineering is well integrated into these areas. And we also hear examples of where it isn't. And I think that's only going to continue, because we're only going to continue to be a more high-tech society, right? When we think about self-driving cars, for example, there's still ongoing debate about, do we move forward, do we not move forward? And I don't really hear engineers in those conversations. Or if they are, I don't hear them say, and I'm an engineer, by the way. So I bring this up in terms of just saying that I think that there's opportunity in front of us, especially since we are that community, to do a better job at redefining the identity of an engineer in today's world. And today's world is one where technology is always interacting with us, whether we're in mining or in civil or in mechanical or in software, computer, chemical, all of those things. So, with that being said, let's look at another example, which is Life Labs. So anyone ever had a blood test at Life Labs?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know how you can't have a blood test at Life Labs, quite frankly. And they had a fairly significant breach of data privacy. Again, an area that I believe engineering presence, part of our responsibility is to get ahead of these things. So I think part of our responsibility as engineers today, if these are our technical background, is to get ahead of these privacy breaches and figure out how we're going to minimize these in our society. So I hope that kind of resonates with you in terms of thinking about, I'm in this network, I share a commonality of my culture, I think in most cases, in terms of being Bangladesh, culturally sharing. I want everyone here to be successful, so you have tips and tricks and mentors and these areas to network and learn and support and help each other, which is phenomenal. And at the same time, I am a member of society, and so what else can I do to advance the well-being of society in the context of what my background is, which in most cases is engineering. And I think that that's really exciting. And it also takes a lot of time. So of course we can only do our capacity, right? So that's completely fair. But if you have capacity, spend a little bit more time in this area. It's something that I'm going to spend a lot of time over the next year in my presidency of PEO. And I think that it's going to pay off for those around us in terms of our contributions. I was talking to a student recently, and she had decided that she was going to focus her civil engineering studies in the environmental area. Sorry, but I don't think it was civil. I think it was mechanical. Sorry, environmental area. And I was, reframe my story, actually in the energy area. And I said, well, this is going to be really great, because no matter what you end up doing in life, you're going to better understand energy systems. And there's so much chatter out there about energy. You know, is nuclear good? Is nuclear not good? Should we be in coal? Should we not be in coal? Should we be in water? Or are the windmills bad for us? Are they hurting the birds? Are they causing us issues with sound? Like, you know, there's so much chatter out there, and nobody knows the answer. It's just so unclear. But we know, right? So with our knowledge and our expertise, this student, wherever she does in her career, she's going to help navigate these discussions in society because she understands energy systems and she can give a real factual direction to people. So I think that that's, again, a great power that we have. So if you're talking in the public and you hear issues coming up, you know, feel free to voice them, because you're probably going to be able to add some knowledge into society that people don't have to navigate, you know, what really is factual and what really isn't factual. And we know that there's a lot of misstatements of facts, unfortunately, in the broad media today. So I think that's kind of exciting. Is that something that resonates? Are people motivated by these possibilities for ourselves as professionals? A little bit? Yes. Thumbs up? That's great. So you talked about, I'll just finish by saying that a priority of the organization is on youth and on careers. And I really think it's important that we stay connected to our youth and remove as many barriers as possible for them, but also really listen to them and their situation and what's important to them today. It's one of the reasons why I want to do what I can this year to try to create some sort of official youth voice at the PEO. So whether it's going to be maybe a council of EITs and students that can at least give a voice into the PEO. I'm not sure what the governance format can work, but I think that that's really important. So we have to be talking back and forth in both directions with youth. And, you know, in terms of careers, we have to remove the barriers that exist today around exclusionary networks in careers. Because, you know, we know they exist, right? And we all teach networking. And we all know the power of networking to get into opportunities. And it's great. So if you can work the networking and you can find those networks to get into those opportunities for jobs, to get PNs to mentor you and so forth, it's wonderful. At the same time, you know, there's a lot of bias in those systems, in networking systems. And so if you don't know how to get into that system, then where are you? So I think that that's another important thing when we think about careers, is what else can we do systemically to try to take out these biases in these systems and open them up? Because I think it's a real barrier for individuals to get access into whether they want to do, you know, postgraduate education and they have to have a network to find a professor that's going to take them in, whether they're going to find somebody who would give them a pathway into a company. I mean, who hasn't applied to jobs with thousands of applications and you never hear back, right? And only if someone knows of you, you get kind of like a step in. So I'm not saying that that's not good. I mean, that's the system today. But it's not really a fair system. So what can we do in our capacity? So maybe we'll work with companies and we can try to improve these systems so that they're a bit more open to everybody and everybody is seen for their abilities. So that's something that we have to keep working on, I think. Absolutely, within career development for everybody here. So with that, I just want to again say it's a real pleasure. Your community has become very kind of deep to me in terms of being welcoming, and I feel a great sense of friendship. I'm not sure if you know the story, but I had a chance to run politically in, when was it now? I think it was around 2014, 15 or so. I also ran in 2011. And in running for political office just on the other side of Victoria Park, so in that Beaches East York area, I got to meet many of the Bangladesh community. And many of the individuals I met were very welcoming and open, and took the point of view of saying that I will give you the benefit of the doubt, and I'll be very generous and kind to you, versus sort of like let me see who you are before I decide to let you in, right? So very, very open and welcoming, and that's always been really, really lovely experience that I think back on. So I built great friendships from that, and so I just wanted to say that that's been a very unique experience for me and very special, and so I'm always here to listen to the community, just so you know, and keep those friendships going. So thank you for being so warm and welcoming to me. I really appreciate it. Thanks. Did you want to ask me any questions at all? I'm happy to.
Questions? Yes, a lot of questions.
Okay, please. Yeah.
Like you mentioned youth, right?
Yes.
But not the engineers having 10 years, 15 years, 20 years experience.
Right.
If they all go through the same process to write the exam, we learn the theories and things like 10, 15, 20 years back.
Yeah.
The fresh, they can easily, because they are fresh, just came out, graduate. So you have any bridging or any kind of accommodation for the experience, like mature engineers from abroad, get certified PhD?
And what kind of, it's a great question, what would be an example of accommodation that you're thinking of in this situation?
No, like real life, practical experience, practical questions.
Right.
Because they have a huge experience.
Right.
They deal everything with the practical. Problem solving and solution finding and all.
Right.
But theory part, they might have to